Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5th round of the 2013 GP4 Offline Championship. After the last race, which was won by Cooper, who took the championship lead by 22 points, this could be a fascinating race here at the Circuit de Catalunya. I am your host for today, George Roke, and welcome to the 5th race of the season. Already 5 rounds gone, still loads more to go. So anyway, this is the layout of the circuit we'll be using. We'll be using the track with the chicane on it. The track record set by Nicolas Gal. The race rating in 2012 was given an 8 out of 10. And let's have a look at the lap of the Circuit de Catalunya as we head down the long pit straight, heading towards the first corner. As you can see from what happened in 2012 was the incident between George Roke and Roland Moitian, and Moitian lost his front wing and Roke was spun around, but fortunately they both stayed on the track, but unfortunately Moitian retired only a few corners later. So we head down through turn 3, the long right-hander, now into the next right-hander, and coming into turn 4 we see the two Brawns who were battling here back in 2009. Those cars looked fantastic, didn't they, back in 2009, as we head around turn 4, heading down the back straight into the left-hander. This is where there's so many incidents here at turn 10. This is an overtake by Joshua Anderson versus James Willows back in 2006. But turn 10 is going to be an interesting spot because there's usually so many incidents there. The tyre we'll be using is the Super Soft compound. The driver of the day for Bahrain was given to Vigor Holst, and the race rating was given a 7.7 out of 10. So let's now head on to the grid, and here it is, the starting grid for the Spanish Grand Prix. On pole position is Florian Volker with Nicolas Gal second, a Red Bull 1-2 after qualifying. Third and fourth, a Mercedes. Jamie Mackenzie in third, George Roke in fourth position. Fifth and sixth, Cooper and Will Neller for Ferrari and Lotus respectively. Seventh and eighth is Vigor Holst and Joseph Willows for McLaren and Ferrari. Onto the fifth row of the grid is Vedran Vedrina and Kirosama de Rossa, another impressive qualifying from him in the Sauber. 11th is Robert Ionescu, 12th is Amar Kar. 13th place is Oliver Glazebrook, followed by Ricky Hart-Zane in 14th place. 15th and 16th is Roland Moitian and William Duncan for Toro Rosso. As we move further down the order, 17th is Lucas Levi, 18th is Roman Quag. As we now move on to the 10th row of the grid, Franco Gamba in 19th place, with Rick Yan in 20th. And onto the last row of the grid, it is Zachary Fitzwater for Caterham and David Greenwood for Marussia. So that is the grid for the Spanish Grand Prix. You can see the weather, surprisingly enough, and shockingly enough, it will be wet for the Spanish Grand Prix. It hasn't been wet in real life since, I think, 1996, but it is certainly going to be wet today. So this should be a very interesting race indeed. I don't believe there's been a wet race in Spain in the OC as far as I can remember, but my memory is terrible, so you never know. But anyway, let's head on to the grid. You can see the track is wet. There's no rain at the moment, but the rain will be coming as we go further on into the race. The lights are about to come on. We now have 3 lights, 4 lights, and we have 5 lights. And we're on the way for the Spanish Grand Prix. And who's going to get the jump into the first corner? Volker's made a pretty good start, and so has Jay Mackenzie, the Mercedes, who's got right into second place. And he's even going for the lead now on the inside. What a start by Jay Mackenzie, who's on the inside of Volker, coming into the first corner as they come through. And oh, there's contact! And Volker's out! And Galler's been involved as well. Galler's hit his own teammate into the first corner. And I think there's a Ferrari missing a front wing, so I think a Ferrari has been involved there as all the cars head towards the first corner. But Florian Volker, the pole sitter, is out on the first corner. Oh my word, we need to have a look at this again. So Mackenzie was on the inside, so he had contact from, he got hit by Gal, but I think Gal may have had contact from a Ferrari. And yes, look, there was the contact, and Gal just had absolutely nowhere to go and just went into the side of the of his teammate Volker there, and it was Cooper in the Ferrari who caused that. As let's have a look on board from his view, and you can see he just gets a bit too close, and right there's the contact, and Kuba in turn loses his front wing as well, so he's going to have to pit for repairs. Oh my word, that is an incredible start to the race, and there's George Roke just going around the outside. They're just about avoiding any fracas in there, and as we look at Will Neller, who's trying to get past the Ferrari now, he's on the inside, he gets trying to pass Cooper, who's going past the Red Bull. It's 3 wide going into turn 4. It's never going to work, but Will Neller makes it up into third place. Cooper's now holding this whole stack of cars behind him, holding up, which includes his teammate. As the teammate now goes around the outside, so does Holst. He goes past him as well. Cooper's now down to 6th, but he's going to be further down the field as the rest of the cars finally get past him. Hopefully there won't be any more accidents, but you never know in this series. And oh my word, De Rossa came absolutely flying out of nowhere there. Wow, that could have been a really bad crash, but fortunately they got away with it. As now Glazebrook goes around the outside. Now De Rossa's going to make his way through, coming on the pit straight. Usually there's a crash or so here as we head in towards turn 10. We've had it before. Now Vadrina's going on the inside of De Rossa, coming into turn 10. And I don't think he's quite got the moves done yet. And no, he hasn't. He has to back out there. Cooper's now down to 11th place as all the rest of the cars come through. And Ricky Harkson, I think, lost a bit of his front wing there. So he's had an incident somewhere. And where has that happened? Oh, has it happened at turn 5? And let's have a look at what happened to the Indonesian driver coming into turn 5. And oh, he just got hit from. Oh, he got hit from behind by Roland Moitian in the Williams. Did he get contact from Franco Gamba? And no, and the Gamba went into the back of Moitian, but it was Moitian the one who went into the back of Harkson there. Wow, my word, what a start to this race we have had. Blimey. And wow, it's only lap 1 as well. Who knows what could happen the rest of the race? But it is currently a Mercedes 1-2 right now. It's looking very good for them at the moment. As we're looking at the rest of the cars, Amar Collins, who's right behind in 9th place. There's Wazeku, who's just about to go into the pits. William Duncan now finally goes past in the Toro Rosso as the cars now head down towards the back straight. Now here's Amar Carr going to get past the inside of Vadrina, coming down the front straight. And he's now on the inside for turn 1. And surely he's going to have it done. And yes, he is. He gets it done as he now comes through into turn 3. So now looking at Joseph Willows, who's battling with Will Neller in the Lotus for 3rd place. And oh, there's contact, and Willows goes around. That's not the place he wants to go. And oh, you could just see that was going to happen a mile off, didn't you? And Willows and Holst have lost their front wings. It's going so well for Mercedes right now. It's a stroll in the park. Now Glazebrook is going to go up into the top 5 position, and so is his teammate De Rossa. So it's going very well for these guys right now. My word. Sorry, I do apologise about that. Anyway, as we're looking at the Salvos, who was right behind Viggo Holsters there. Oh, they made contact, and wow. De Rossa went right into the back of his teammate there, and somehow he didn't get any damage from that. That is very, very lucky indeed. Have a look at it again from De Rossa's point of view. Look at that. It goes right into the back of him as well. Unfortunately, does no damage at all. But now those two are going to battle on track again for about the 5th time, or about the 20th time I should say this season. I mean, the amount of times they battled the two Saubers has been quite ridiculous, but currently Sauber in P4 and 5, but they're about to swap positions as De Rossa is now on the inside of Glazebrook coming into turn 1, and he makes the move stick for P4. Now Amar Carr is right behind in 6th position, so everyone in the top 10 has moved up at least 2 positions, and Glazebrook so far has moved up 8, Carr's moved up 6, and he's in 6th place, but now he's going to move up 7 if he gets past Glazebrook, which he can't quite do. As we're looking at Franco Gamba, and who's going around the outside there of Lucas Levi in the Virgin car, and oh, there was contact there coming into the first corner, and Gamba's lost his front wing, and Levi has lost his rear wing as Gamba goes round the outside there. Now Zachary Fitzwater's right stuck behind with so much spray going on the inside of David Greenwood in the other Virgin. And he can't quite make it stick into turn 4. They now come around, but that's not the start to the race that Franco Gamba would have wanted at all. As now Greenwood goes past him into P12, and so does Zachary Fitzwater into P13 respectively. So Gamba's going to have to go into the pits, not the start that he would have wanted at all. Now Amar Carr still battling with Oliver Glazebrook coming into turn 10, and there's a little bit of contact, and there's almost a little bit of a nudge again, as now the McLaren of Vadrina's right behind us. Now Amar Carr, who still can't quite get past Glazebrook, and at the moment is letting his teammate De Rossa get away. And now Carr's right behind and got a face full of spray, and he's now on the inside, coming into the right, but he can't quite do it, just still stuck behind. Now Inescu is trying to get past Glazebrook, and as now here's Vadrina, who's being overtaken, or battling at least with William Duncan, but Duncan's having a great race so far. He's now all the way up into 8th position in the Toro Rosso. That's a good race so far by the American. As we're now looking at Robbie Inescu trying to get past the Sauber. There was almost contact there as he gets past Oliver Glazebrook, does Robert Ionescu. Very, very nearly contact there. Glazebrook really defended from him coming into the first corner, and certainly wasn't going to let him go through easy. There was, I don't know how there wasn't contact there. They were very, very lucky indeed. and Inescu now goes into 6th position. So Glazebrook, unfortunately, now is dropping like a stone. He's got 24 laps of fuel, so he's on a fairly heavy fuel load. As we're looking at Glazebrook, who is in P9, but it looks like he was in P7, but he's now down to P9. Was it contact from behind by William Duncan, or did he just go off on his own accord? And I don't think there was any contact there. I think Glazebrook just went off on his own accord by the looks of it. I don't think Duncan had a touch on the back of his car. But anyway, so unfortunately for Oliver Glazebrook, he is now down to P9. So being in the top 5, it's a bit of a long ask. But right now, Mackenzie's got a 17-second lead over his teammate, George Rogue, in first place. My God, what driving this is from Mackenzie. Although it may be in part that he does have a lot of fuel. There's now Viggo Holst trying to recover for the field. He's now alongside David Greenwood, and he can't quite get past him here. But Greenwood's now attacking Fitzwater into turn 1. Fitzwater defends, and there's contact, and Greenwood goes around. Fitzwater goes wide, going into the first corner, and Greenwood's going to drop right to the back of the field. He's not making it very easy for himself. He's now rejoined on the wet grass, but he was just trying to get past the caterer. I forgot the name of the car there. Was it Zachary Fitzwater or was it Rick Yan? I think it actually might be. I think it's actually Rick Yan. I do apologise. I thought it was Fitzwater, but it was in fact Rick Yan. And Yan now is under pressure from Gal and his teammate Zachary Fitzwater, and also Viggo Holst as well, who's trying to recover. And Holst tries to get on the inside, can't quite do it. He's stuck in a Caterham sandwich. Waze Kuba's trying to recover. There's Relo Moichin. There's Greenwood. As Holst stuck behind the Caterham as they head through the next 2 corners. Mackenzie, who will be pitting this lap. Roker's got, I think that was 34 laps of fuel in his car there. Rick Yan, who's now being overtaken by Holst, and now Holst up into 12th position, trying to recover to get some points from this race. He's looking on board, he just has the better power in that McLaren Mercedes, and now moves past him on the inside and up into 12th position, but he's still got 2 places to recover if he wants to get into the points. Jim Mackenzie now comes out of his pits after his first stop. Will he actually come out still ahead of his teammate? And the answer is no. He actually comes out behind his teammate, George Roque, who temporarily takes the lead of this Grand Prix. And certainly the rain doesn't look like it's relenting right now, so I guess we'll be interested to see how heavy it gets later on in the race. But Roque right now has the lead. He's got a lot of fuel in the car, so I imagine he'll probably just let Mackenzie get past because they're going to be on different fuel strategies. As we're looking at the battles going throughout the field, as we're looking at Waze Kuba and Miklos Gal battling for, bizarrely, 16th place. You'd expect them to be fighting up in the top 5 at least, maybe even for the win. But it's certainly not happening today, as now Ricky Farquharson is right behind the Caterham of Rick Yan. He's now just about on the inside and is very nearly contact, but Rick Yan defends with Fitzwater just behind as well. And George Roque comes around through the final chicane, and now Mackenzie's already caught up to him, and I imagine Roque should just let him through fairly comfortably as he comes down the straight. And he's now alongside his teammates, and they have been teammates with each other for a long time, and now he's on the inside, and obviously being teammates back in the BMW Sauber days, and then obviously in the Lotus days, now moving over to the Mercedes days. Been a long time together for those two, as now we're looking at Waze Kuba, who's making a move past Rick Yan, coming down the front straight, and Fitzwater also being overtaken by the Red Bull of Miklos Gal, side by side into the first corner, and move done. And Fitzwater actually holds off Gal temporarily for 16th place. That won't please the Hungarian driver at all, really, I think I'd have to say. And he's now right behind the Caterham of Fitzwater, and now surely he's going to make a move. And no, Fitzwater really defends there, gets his car out and puts it right in the middle of the track, and he still can't get past. And now Gallo's got the Williams of Relo Moichin, and now he's going to be under pressure from the Hungarian driver. Obviously, well, they're both Hungarians, I should say. Gal can't quite get past Fitzwater here. Now we're on board with Relo Moichin. Now here is, if you're looking at this in, as you can see, Holst on the bottom of your screen has actually moved up into 11th place past William Duncan, who, as I don't know if he's made a pit stop or not, but he's certainly if he hasn't, he's certainly dropped quite a few places down the field. As now finally Miklos Gal does make it past the Caterham of Zachary Fitzwater, coming into turn 1. And now Relo Moichin is going to try and make it coming into turn 4. Now Amar Khan, who's running currently in a podium place right now, comes into the pits for his very first stop of the race. And let's see where he comes out on the track. So Amar Khan comes in, and obviously coming in for, I thought they were second for dry tyres, for wet tyres. I guess they're probably, I don't think they're the monsoon tyres, I think they're the, you could say, extreme wets, because right now I think it's certainly not getting any drier. I think if anything it's getting worse out there. Haven't seen any fastest laps or anything, but Amar Khan comes out in 5th place behind Robert Ionescu and ahead of Joseph Willows in the Ferrari. It's been a good race so far for Khan. He's avoided all the trouble and he's up there in the top 5, even possibly for a podium, I think, right now. And you can see, look, he's already catching up to Robert Ionescu just as he comes down out of the first corner. Look how much he's already caught up. I mean, it shows the real strength of these tyres that they've got, or the grip they've got on the surface. Now he's already right behind Ionescu and he could even make a move, but he won't make a move coming around into turn 5. Certainly not here yet. As they're coming down the left hand. Surely he's going to make a move coming into turn 7 and 8. He's going to try into 7 as they come through 8, and they're heading towards turn 9, the right-hander. Now they're going to be heading towards the short back straight down towards turn 10. There's usually a lot of overtaking here, and Carl's going to try it around the outside. He's going to now go swap to the inside. He does, and he makes the move past Ionescu into 4th place. That's a good move there by the British driver, and proving the tyres, those tyres certainly are the way to go. And now Carl's already caught up to the back of Ionescu's teammate Will Neller, and he's now going to be right behind him coming round through the final chicane, and he's surely going to make a move coming onto the front straight. He's right behind him. He's got a face full of spray, and he's now moving towards the inside. He's got the inside line. Carr should have this move in the bag, and right now for Carr it looks like it could be 3rd place. Well, it depends if he gets this move done. I shouldn't get ahead of myself yet, and now he does. So Carr right now is running a net 3rd position for Force India. Great result for him indeed if he can keep this up, and great race so far. So let's hope he can keep this up. He's running in P3. He's already got away from Neller, so let's see how much he can extend it. I don't think he's going to be able to catch the 2 Mercedes up front, who are just so far in front of everybody else. And now Robert Ionescu comes in for a pit stop, and let's see where he comes out onto the track. And let's see what tyres they put on. They put on the wet tyres. Now, I can't remember if there's actually a difference between the wets and the monsoons, but I guess we'll find out later on in the race, depending on if the weather gets much worse than this. It certainly is a lot wetter than what it was at the start of the race, that's for sure. Now Vedrina comes in for his stop for the McLaren team. Comes out, and now Oliver Glazebrook, who after that great start he had, unfortunately just fell away quite badly, you have to say. I guess those tyres really weren't working for him. So they were starting all on the inters, as you can see. That's why that's the yellow striped tile. Green, I don't know if that's yellow green. I mean, it's a bit of both really. Luminous yellow, I'll say. But they decided on the yellow striped tyres, and they've gone on to the wet tyres. So as you can clearly see, it has got a lot wetter than what it was at the start. As now Nicolas Cal comes out of his pit box already. Everyone is coming in here, so it'll be interesting to see if any of the front runners will as well. Because I mean, both Roke and Mackenzie are so far in front. Roke's still got a fair bit of fuel in his car, so I don't know if they'll bother to pit him or not. And actually, the answer is yes, they do. They do pit him this time around. And let's see. I don't know if Mackenzie is pitted again or not. I'm not entirely sure about that, but Greenwood now comes in for Virgin. And now George Roke comes in for Mercedes. So he still had, look at the amount of fuel he had in the car, and 48 laps of fuel. My God. So George Roke is going to go to the end of the race here. So I guess I don't really know if that's exactly going to be the right strategy or not, but Mercedes are certainly going for it anyway. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen any car do 48 laps on the same set of tyres. I really haven't. But this will be very interesting to see indeed. Will Neller now comes in, so all the front runners are coming in right now. Well, everyone is, I should say. So I shouldn't just say the front runners, but everyone is coming into the pits as of this lap. So I imagine those guys that are battling there, Holst, Duncan and Ionescu, they'll probably come in as well if they haven't already. So let's see where Will Neller comes out. So, and as you can see, Robert Ionescu is battling here, William Duncan with the car of Nella coming out of the pits, and he's held up Ionescu there, and he had to back off, and Nella just gets out in front of Duncan, and that's going to be a little bit frustrating for Ionescu to be held up there, as he now does in fact go past the Toro Rosso of Duncan. As let's have a look, it was into turn 10, he was on the inside, there wasn't any contact, they gave him plenty of room, although Duncan probably went a bit more wider than he probably anticipated or / wanted to. But anyway, Ionescu now moves up into 6th position. Joseph Willow is now in 8th, right behind Duncan. De Rossi up into P5. This has been a fascinating race so far. We should have wet races here more often. This has been a great race, I have to say, so far. As we're now looking at the Ferrari Willows, who's right behind the Toro Rosso of Duncan, coming on to the front straight. He's now going to have the slipstream, and surely he's going to get this move done, coming towards the first corner as he comes down past the lights, and he's now just about alongside Duncan. He's probably going to brake a lot later than he will into the first corner, and Willows is on the inside. No, he hasn't quite got it there. He'll have to wait another corner or so, I guess, unless obviously he makes a mistake, does Duncan, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. And Duncan stays on track. I thought he was going to go a bit wide there. Nearly did, but he's managed to stay off the asterisk. If you go on that, you're going to go off immediately. As now, we're looking at, and this is Willows, and Ionescu's gone wide. Ionescu's gone wide, and he's lost his front wing. Ionescu has gone wide in the tricky conditions, and he's lost a bit of his front wing. That's a very silly error, you could call it. I mean, I wouldn't say unfortunate. I think that's just a bit of a bad mistake there by the Romanian driver. He was running fairly comfortably. He was looking pretty good, and unfortunately went onto the grass, and he tried to get going, but he just couldn't really get off it with how wet it's been, raining all race, and then he just loses a bit of his front wing there. That is very unfortunate there for the Romanian driver, and that's going to cost him certainly a chance of a good result, but you never know what could happen in this race. But he's going to have to pit. He's going to have to go through at least a third or 3/4, I should say, of the track before he actually pits. And now Joseph Willows is alongside Duncan coming into the first corner, and has he done it now? Yes, he has. He now is up into 6th place. Duncan down to 7th. He's going to have some company behind him in the shape of Vedra Vedrina, the Croatian driver for McLaren. He's now right behind him already is Vedrina. Now surely he's going to make a move into turn 4, and nope, Duncan defends very sternly indeed, but Duncan's outbraked himself. He's gone a bit wide there, but Vedrina I don't think has quite made it stick there, so I think he's got away with it. But now Vedrina is on the inside of Duncan into the first corner, and he can't quite do it there as he now comes through turn 1, 2, and now coming into turn 3, and they've got obviously Viggo Holst joining the party as well. Duncan's surely going to get swamped by both McLarens soon, if not now. And now Holst trying to make a move on the inside of Duncan, who's really defending sternly for Vedrina. He's gone wide again, and this time it has cost him, and he's lost out to both McLarens there, and he's now down into 9th place. So he got away with it first time, but unfortunately didn't get away with it second time. You can see he defends, just goes way too wide. He's lucky that he just about kept it off the grass. So he stays in that position. He didn't lose an absolute ton of time. Behind him is Ricky Hartmann in the Force India, I should say. As we look at him coming through into turns 7 and 8. So lap 29, we've still got over half this race to go. Viggo Holst now right behind the McLaren, his teammate, I should say, of Vedrina. And is Holst going to make a move as they come down the back straight towards turn 10? And Holst tries with the inside, and there's contact between the two McLarens, and they've just about kept it on the track, and now Duncan is being brought back into this. That was very lucky that they didn't spin off there, both McLarens, but they really need to be careful. I wonder if there's going to be any team orders from their side of the paddock. But right now, so Carr is currently 2nd, so George Roke is in 3rd, so right now Omar Carr is technically, I mean, he'll have to make a pit stop, but I don't know how good Roke's pace is, but he certainly is in with 3rd for sure, maybe even 2nd here is Omar Carr. He's having a fantastic race, as now the two McLarens are right behind each other coming down the front straight, and now Holst is making a move on the inside of Vedrina for 7th place. He's now alongside him, and surely he's got that move done, and yes he has. He moves up into P7 past Vedrina, and Vedrina will have to try and at least get away from the Toro Rosso of Duncan. As we're looking, as you can see, at Omar Carr, who right now is in 2nd place. He will have to pit in about 5 laps time, so it looks like he will come back out in 3rd. And speaking of pitting, here he is. So he's going to come out right now in a net 3rd position. It's been a fantastic race by Omar Carr. in the Force India, one of certainly the best of his career. And let's see how well he does. So he comes up the pit, so Roke's already gone past him down the straight. Will he come out ahead of Woolnella in the Lotus will be the next question. I have no idea where he is out on track, but I know Roke and Kenji so far in front, and it proves because Nella's hasn't even gone past the finish line yet. So car's in a net third right now, as we're looking at the Force India Ricky Harkisane, who's caught up to the back of William Duncan, and now Harkisane's on the inside, going to turn 10, and he moves up into 9th place, and now Duncan has got the Red Bull of Miguel Gal for company for the last point spot for 10th position. Can't quite make it through there, so he has to back off. And now Jamie Kenzie comes in for his second and I believe final pit stop of the Grand Prix. He's so far in front of Roke right now. It's been an unbelievably comfortable 29 seconds he is ahead of George Roke. I mean, I suppose Roke is on that one stop, which at the moment isn't, I guess, working out that well for him. Even though he is second, he's not exactly doing the pace-wise. It's not exactly working out for him. So it's very interesting to see anyway. So here we are looking at the version of, I believe, is this Lucas Levi or David Greenwood? I'm not entirely sure. I should recognise most of the helmets by now, but this is in fact David Greenwood, who's attacking Rolo Muchin for 16th position, and Greenwood is on the inside, and is he going to make the move stick past Muchin? He can't quite do. Is he going to hang it around the outside? He does, and he is going to go on the inside now. Zachary Fitzwater's joining the party, and Greenwood does make it through. That's a great move there by the British driver, and now he's going to have Zachary Fitzwater as well. The company is Roland Moitian, and he defends it from Fitzwater there as they're coming through into turn 5. Surely it's not going to work there, but here's Mackenzie currently out front, as now we're looking at Amar Kar, who's right behind George Roke. So Amar Kar is set to take a net second place right now, and he passes George Roke into second place, and Amar Kar is running P2. Unfortunately, the one stop for George Roke isn't really working out well for him right now. I mean, 48 laps of fuel, that is an unbelievable amount of fuel, that is, but he's trying to go to the end of the race, Roke, and right now it's just not really working out for him, to be honest. It's I mean, he's running down the... Oh, and my word, Levi is just absolutely clattered into the Sauber there. Oh my, what was he thinking? He's absolutely clatters into De Rosa, and wow, so De Rosa has been eliminated from the race there. That was really poor driving by the Virgin driver there, and he's going to have to pit for a new front wing. Now Duncan trying to make a move on the inside, and Levi's not really moving out of the way of him there. So I mean, he has been known to have been criticised by some drivers for his driving, especially when he was in the 2000 and I think it was 2010 season, I think it was, that he was in. He was criticised for the way he was driving then. I think it was then. Was it? Actually, no, it was 2011. I should say 2011. Some of the drivers were angry at the way he was driving and taking people out. But he's been fairly quiet since then. He's had a decent start to the season. He's kept himself to himself. Looking at Zachary Fitzwater running in P16 right now. And here's Amar Kar. Oh, hang on, Amar Kar's going very... He's got an engine problem. That one, oh no, and Amar Kar down the front straight was running in a net second place, and his engine, of all things in this race, lets him down. That is just cruel, cruel luck for Amar Kar, and he pulls off to the side of the track at turn 1. That is pretty gutting to say the least, and now it is back to a Mercedes 1-2, but for Amar Kar, that is bitterly disappointing. He was having a fantastic race, and unfortunately the car has let him down once again. Not what he wanted in the slightest. So when did he suffer the problem? Let's go on board. So he was coming around the final section of corners, just coming up to the final chicane, coming round the right-hander as he comes down, and there it was. There was the engine problem that came just as he was heading towards the final chicane. And unfortunately, the problem for him, it was terminal, so he didn't go into the pits, and so he missed it. I mean, if the engine blows up, there's not really much you can do, is there? But anyway, unfortunately for Kar, he comes down the straight. There's nothing he can do about it, and there you can see just about within the spray his engine going, and there was George Roke in the background, I suppose, smiling pretty nicely under that helmet of his, and the fact that he's now got second place back. But unfortunately for Kar, that is, I mean, I do really feel sorry for him. I mean, he's not a bad driver car, but he just hasn't really had very much luck at all, really, to be honest. And this is when it has unfortunately happened again. See, George Rowe, he's still got 31 laps of fuel. So, I mean, if he's got 10, 20, 30, I mean, that is a pretty excessive amount, actually, when you come to think of it. He's still got 10 laps of fuel to go at the end, by my calculation. So that's pretty excessive, as there's Ionescu. And there's an engine problem. And whose car is that? Is that a Ferrari? Or is that a version? I'm not sure. No, I think that's a... that is a version, and I think that is... I believe that is David Greenwood. And let's have a look. Is it David Greenwood or is it Lucas Levi? Is the big question. He's pulled off, and that's just before the... no, it is a Ferrari. That's what I thought. I mean, I was going to say, I thought that looked like a Ferrari, and that is, unfortunately, Waze Cooper. His nightmare race is now over. We're now looking at the Toro Rosso coming down the front straight. As we're now looking... There's a yellow flag out somewhere. I don't know when... Oh, that's Ricky Parkazine. And Ricky Parkazine is out at the first corner, and he retires just past where his teammate Amar Khan is. And it looks like Parkazine has suffered a mechanical problem. And he was running in 8th position. He was running just behind Veteran Vedrina. And he was going down. Was it the same problem as Carr had? And, oh, it looks like it was. It looks like exactly the same problem as it was for his teammate Amar Khan, and oh dear, that is not a good ending to the race for Force India, and unfortunately for him and for his teammate Amar Khan, they will be getting absolutely nothing from this race. Absolute jack all. And as we're looking at Ricky Parkazine coming through into the final chicane, unfortunately the problem with him, you could just see the smoke coming out the back of his car there, and unfortunately for him, that was his race done and dusted. As he comes now through the final corner onto the pit straight, and obviously he pulls off at the first corner where his teammate Amar Khan did as well, and that is not the way that he would have wanted it at all. As you can see, I mean, the rain, it looks like so far as we're looking at the weather wise, it looks like it has stopped. So I don't know if this will make much of a difference to tyres or not, but we'll have a look and see. But Parkazine angrily bashes his car into the wall right there, at the fact that unfortunately it has worked out like that for him. So right now Mackenzie's got a 51-second lead over Roke in second place. My God. As we're now looking at the McLaren of Viggo Holst making a move past Robert Ionescu in the Lotus up into P7. We're on lap 47, so we've got 20 laps to go of this race. As we're looking at Wilnella, who's running right now in a P3. Miguel Scal's running in P5, having a nice recovery after the start, just behind Joseph Willows in the Ferraris. He makes his way past some lap traffic, and here's Zachary Fitzwater, who's trying to go back past Miguel Scal, and he's on the inside, and in fact he actually does go past him there, which won't please Miguel Scal at all, really. Now Viggo Holst is now making a move past his teammate Vedrina, and he now moves up into P6, although Vedrina is pitting this lap, so I guess that answers that question there. But he moves up into P6, does Viggo Holst, the current reigning champion of the OC, as we now look at Vedrina coming down the back straight, and it looks like he doesn't have that much pace in the car as he's coming into turn 10. He goes a little bit wide there, so he's certainly struggling for tyres, and now Mackenzie does come in. So what tyres are they going on is the interesting question. So it looks like it is another set of wet tyres, or is that the extreme wets? I'm not exactly sure. I think it's a slightly different one, so I think it could be the extreme wets. And yeah, I mean, they do definitely look different on Mackenzie's car when they change them. So I think these are the extreme wet tyres that they are putting on. Is it going on? Yeah, they do look different. So I think obviously they must think that the rain is getting worse, or the track conditions are getting a lot worse. Now pretty much everyone is coming into the pits right now. So Mackenzie's come in, Ionescu's come in, all the top guys are coming in. I think all the top guys are coming in. I've actually yet to see George Roke coming into the pits, so I don't know whether or not he has pitted or not. But I mean, I think it would be a bit foolish of him not to. I know he's got a lot of fuel, but he could easily still, if he has the fresher tyres, he could easily burn that off pretty quickly. The remaining fuel. And I think, was that Roke? I think I just saw Roke going past the pits there, I think, actually. If you're looking at Oliver Glazebrook in the Sauber, now coming and making his final pit stop of the Grand Prix as he now comes towards the pits. So let's have a look at that. I couldn't quite see that. Actually, they weren't showing the top runners, so I wouldn't have been able to see if Roke had made a stop or not. And looking at Oliver Glazebrook, who comes out of the pit, a 7.2 second stop for him. And let's see where he comes out of the track. Comes out in, looks like P11 right now. And he comes out in P11, is it? Is it going to still be P11? And the answer is yes, it is. So Mackenzie, right now in P1, having an incredibly comfortable lead. I don't really see anyone knocking him off top spot right now, unless he has a mechanical problem, which I'm not going to say it's not. It's impossible not to happen. It could easily still happen. Mackenzie goes past the Ribble, there it is, and there's Joseph Williams coming in, who was running in fourth. So they've lapped. So Mackenzie's actually lapped nearly almost the entire field right here. And George Roke, who I don't think he's made another stop here, and I don't think if the team don't stop him soon, I think they could come under threat from the guys behind. So Roke really needs to be pretty careful right now. As we now look at Joseph Willows coming out of the pits for Ferrari, and where is he coming out onto the track? And he comes out in, it looks like P7. So he's now right behind the McLaren of Madrina as they can now come into turn 1. Willows on the inside, and oh no, and you can just see, is there going to be contact? Yep, there it is. There is the contact right there. And are they going to spin it? Willows sliding the car around turn 1, and nope, they actually hold it together. So fortunately for them, they've got away without any damage. But now Robert Ionescu is right behind these guys as well. They now come into turn 4, and now he's really trying to make a move, Willows, but he can't quite there because Madrina defends it, although Madrina goes a little bit deep into the corner. Now Ionescu is right behind as well, and Willows still can't quite get past him yet. They're now coming onto the straight. And now surely Willows is going to make a move coming down the straight. Madrina tries to move over, but he can't really do it. Pretty defenseless, and now Willows on the much fresher tyres overtakes Madrina for 6th position as they come through the first 3 corners. Now Ionescu is right behind the McLaren of Madrina as they now come through turn 3, now heading towards turn 4. And he's now on the inside, Ionescu, but he can't quite make it stick there. But he's still right behind. Wait, is that Ionescu? Or is that Will Neller? And no, wait, hang on. This is Will Neller, and he's passing George Roke here for 2nd place. And Mackenzie's right behind as well. So Mackenzie's about to lap the entire field here, and I don't believe Roke has actually pitted for fresh tyres. And I don't think he has, and that has cost Mercedes a 1-2 for sure. Because even if Roke pits now, I don't know if he'll be able to catch him up. And oh my word, that is a pretty disastrous decision by Mercedes not to pit Roke under. And oh, Ionescu's out. Robert Ionescu's out of the race. And that is at turn 10. And I don't know if he's had a mechanical. No, he's had a crash. What's happened here then? So Ionescu was just lapping the Caterham there of, I believe that is Rick Yan, coming down the straight. And oh my word, and Rick Yan just goes into the back of Ionescu. Oh my goodness! Wow, that is really. I mean, what was he doing there, Rick Yan? He just went right into the back of Robert Ionescu. That is not going to please Ionescu one little bit. And oh my goodness me, what a race we've had so far. Holy cow! This has been some race, and wow, Rick Yan now out of the Grand Prix. Not really what he wanted to have done at all, as we're now looking at a bit of a delay on the replay there. I thought for a second then my screen had frozen. Unfortunately it didn't, and Yan just catapults into the back of Ionescu there, and I imagine, yeah, Rick Yan will probably be getting a penalty for that. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Now we're looking at Madrina, who's, Viggo Holst, who's already caught up to George Roke. So if this isn't clear proof that they haven't pitted him, here it is now, because Roke has now dropped all the way down outside of the podium and now to the edge of the top 5. And oh dear me, Roke's going to be absolutely fuming that they've kind of robbed him of a Mercedes 1-2 here, and now Roke is going to be under pressure from Joseph Willows in the Ferrari, so it looks like he might not even be a top 5 for Mercedes. And now he's being overtaken, is Roke, by the Marussia there of, I believe that is that Lucas Levi? I think it is Lucas Levi, coming into the first corner. And he now does get overtaken, and now Willows surely is going to fancy this opportunity with Roke on the torn tyres. I mean, he's still got so much fuel in the tank as well, much more than anyone else, I imagine, at this rate. He's got slightly more than Willows, but still, it's not the amount he wanted. And now Willows surely going to make a move on the inside of Roke, coming into the right hand. Roke goes a bit wide, and surely is Willows going to make it stick there? Not quite, but he's going to have him sooner or later because Roke's just really struggling. He can't really pit now. He's going to have to get to the race on those tyres, but those tyres must be absolutely ruined to thuggery there. As now Willows makes a move on the inside, and he's now at the P5, and George Roke, who looked to be in the position of getting on Mercedes 1-2 in second, is now down to P6. So I guess that's probably where he's going to finish, unless anyone else catches him before the end. I'm not sure. But anyway, here we are looking at the race leader, Jay McKenzie. What a race this man has had. He's lapped the entire field. He's looked utterly dominant from the first corner, from taking the lead. He's just never looked back. He's led, I think, almost every lap. I know Roke led a couple, or at least one. So he's led nearly every lap, and McKenzie has just absolutely obliterated the field. He's just looked in complete dominance. That 3-stop that I think, was it 3-stop he did? I think it was a 3-stop. That 3-stop that he did was by far the best strategy to do, and he's shown it today. He's just so far in front, he could just put it on cruise mode. He could get someone else to drive the car, and he'd still win the race. So he's currently leading ahead of Woolnella in second. I'm not sure actually who's in third. I'll need to check the order again. But anyway, it doesn't matter. McKenzie coming through onto the back straight for the final time. This will be his first victory of the season for Mercedes. So Roke almost getting it at Malaysia, but he was taken by Nicolas Gau in the end. As we're looking at McKenzie coming through the final section of corners, so it is actually Nicolas Gau recovering from that first lap to come all the way up to take third. Very impressive recovery, with Holston in fourth and Joseph Willows in fifth position, completing the top 5. So Roke still is in sixth at the moment, so let's see if he keeps that towards the end. But anyway, that doesn't matter as we're looking at Jay McKenzie coming around the final corner on to the pit straight. Jay McKenzie, he took the lead at the start. He's dominated ever since, and he wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Congratulations to him. A very, very easy victory indeed. Franco Gamma comes across the line in 14th place, but Woolnella comes home and takes a very impressive second place. So well done to the Brit on his return to the OC. Take the second, that's something he'll definitely need. Oliver Glazer comes across the line in 9th for Salvador, gets some more points. Nicolas Gau takes third after that first lap collision with Volker, obviously, but obviously that wasn't his fault. Roman Quaggs take the last point spot in 10th for Williams, with Lucas Levi coming home in 15th. Igor Hulst recovering and is set to take P4 as he comes round the final corner and set to come across the line for McLaren. And there it is, he's P4. P5 is set to be Joseph Willows as he comes down the pit straight, and now there is David Greenwood, just going to miss out on points in P11 for Marussia. 12th is going to be Roland Moitin, and finally George Roke comes around and he will finish P6, what could have been for him, so he's going to be mightily frustrated indeed. And now Vedran Vedrina is going to finish in 7th place as now he comes across the line, as now William Duncan is finally set to take some points for Toro Rosso in 8th position. Zachary Fitzwater now about to come across the line and finish in P13. And there it is, he finished across the line. And Rick Yan, after that collision that he had with Ionescu, a bit of a bad driving there from him, I think you could say, comes across the line to finish in P16. And there we go, that is the race over. Your winner there, Jay McKenzie, the pole, wins the Spanish Grand Prix. So well done to him. An utterly dominant performance. So here are the full race results. Jay McKenzie in first, Woolnella second, Gall in third, Holst in fourth, Willows in fifth, Roke sixth, Vedrina 7th, Duncan 8th, Oliver Glazebrook, the Roman Quag completing the points in 10th, with Glazebrook and Quag both being 2 laps down. So it proves how fast McKenzie was at the front of the field. As now we will go and have a look at the rest of the order. The fastest lap was, as you can see, also set by Jay McKenzie for Mercedes. So we're now going to have a look at the second half of the order, with David Greenwood being 11th, Roland Moitin being 12th, Zachary Fitzwater 13th, Franco Gammett 14th, Lucas Levi 15th, Rick Yan in 16th position, with Robert Ionescu, Ricky Hussein, Waze Kuba, Omar Carr, Kirosimo de Rosa, and Florian Volker, the cars who all retired from this race, which certainly was a good race. I think we need more wet races around Spain more often. I mean, that was probably, if anything, the best race of the season, I think I'd have to say. I mean, Bahrain was pretty good last one, but I think this one probably tops the icing on the cake. Anyway, let's have a look at the standings. So Wayscuba leads by 7 points with Gallon second, Mackenzie and Dern on 62, Inescu fourth with 49, Willows fifth with 47, Roke sixth with 34, Volker next with Nella, Holst and Vadrina completing the top 10. Then Gamba, Farkrazine, Glazebrook, De Rossa, Duncan, Carr, Quag and Jan, who have all scored points, with the following drivers yet to score any points so far this season: Roland Moitian, Zachary Fitzwater, David Greenwood and Lucas Levi. So there are your standings, your driver standings I should say, after the Spanish Grand Prix. And now we will take a look at the constructor standings, and here we are. So Ferrari currently leading by 21 points ahead of Red Bull in second, with Mercedes third on 96, Lotus fourth with 81, fifth is McLaren on 44, sixth is Toro Rosso with 22, seventh is Sauber with 20, eighth Force India 13, Williams ninth with 1, Caterham 10th with 1, and Russia in the last point spot with 0 points. That has been the Spanish Grand Prix, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to, as usual, vote for your driver of the day and give the race a rating out of 10. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we will see you for the next round of the season, the Monaco Grand Prix at the Monte Carlo Street Circuit. Thanks for watching, and we will see you then.